The culprit's a teenager. A homeowner in North Chattanooga said he caught a thief on his front porch camera, walking up to his stoop, grabbing an Amazon package, and running away. Police trying to track him down. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Chattanooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Expect mostly sunny, breezy, and hot weather out there through your afternoon. Highs near 90 tonight. Increasing clouds late, lows near 70. For Sunday, lots of clouds, not as warm, with a few scattered showers, highs of around 80. Back into the lower to middle 80s on Monday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sourcine 12 Sheep and Deerologist Patrick Ford.
The Radio 92.7.
You hear that? That's the sound of power. The call of the open road. That is the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. More than a bike, it's an experience and an American icon. And the place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. Ready to answer that call? Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Nicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 11, right here on Nooga Radio.
If you want to discover the real hope for your life through inspirational music, relevant messages, and testimonies from others who have already found hope, then we encourage you to visit the second annual My Hope Conference, October 7th through 9th at Hickson First Baptist Church. Free admission and childcare is provided for kids up to pre-K, while those in kindergarten through 5th grade will attend the Kids Hope Rally. For more info, visit myhopeconference.com or call Hickson First Baptist Church at 423-877-2467.
And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to come in and fill in for the breakfast blitz that's usually on around this time on Saturday. That I had an opportunity because the guys are out covering the motorcycle ride that's going to be going on for the next couple of days. And so I am ecstatic that I had an opportunity to talk to you guys because I was not here on yesterday. I was actually out in the streets. You know, I can't just say that I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall, from City Hall to the mayor's office. I can't say that I'm coming from the streets if I'm never out in the streets. That makes me a liar. And I don't want to lie to the people. I got to get out into the streets. So me and my programmer are working on that. Be patient with us because we're going to try to figure it out, how I can start going live at least once a week from the streets, which will give me an opportunity if it's possible, because I come on during lunch hour. Maybe you can meet me somewhere, like at a coffee shop, or meet me somewhere for lunch. While you're getting lunch, you can actually sit down and talk to me. We're working on that, so be patient with me. We're doing something different. I'm trying to do something different. You're not going to get that from any other radio station. You're not even getting this information from any other radio station anyways. But I wanted to come on today because I shared it yesterday on Facebook, and I deliberated over sharing the story of what happened to me in January because getting arrested and going to jail is an embarrassing experience. Super embarrassing if you're innocent, which the majority of people who do go to jail or get arrested are innocent. But I decided to share the story anyways, because it wasn't just about me getting arrested. It was also about the experience and what I believe God allowed me to see while I went down to downtown and being placed on a 12-hour hold, what I would then see when I went to Core Civic. And so I want to talk about that because a lot of people like making the statement that police are not judge, jury, and executioner. That is a lie. That's a lie, because the moment that somebody calls a police officer and they show up on the scene, they do get to be judge. They get to decide who's guilty in their eyes and who's innocent. That's judge. They get to decide who they're going to charge and what they charge them with. That's jury. And then if they don't like their actions, how many times have we seen officers shoot innocent people? That's executioner. That's executioner. We see police who show up on the scene, and despite what people say, the reality of it all, especially with municipal cop, because they are not required. Again, I repeat themes and things again and again, because I believe if I say it, if I continuously say it, I'll drill it into your head, or you won't forget and you'll stop and get on Google and fact check me. Y'all know what it is, Marie, with the Marie Mott Show. I'm still streaming live on Facebook. You can call in and talk to me. And let me just say this before I continue to go forward. You do not have to agree with what I say to call in. I don't want every call to be like that. I don't want half of the calls to be that way. I'm having a discussion, and part of having the discussion is hashing out points of views and ideologies. And even if we never agree on something, that's firmly okay. Why? Because I don't want you to think like me. At the least, what we should walk away with is respect. And that's all I will require. Is, first of all, I'm not going to tolerate ignorance, just sheer and utter ignorance. We can have opposing opinions, but be intelligent about it and be respectful about it. You can call me. You don't have to agree with me. That's firmly okay. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But not only that, but my experience was the officer in January, the police was called to an incident, a domestic incident, and the police officer did not get a whole lot of statements out of me. Why? Because I know what my Miranda rights are, which means that I shouldn't talk. I've said this again and again, folks. Everything that you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And the moment that the police show up, they get to decide who they're going to take to jail. And the reason why hardly anybody should be talking is you don't know if you're going to be the one that ends up in handcuffs. How do I know this is true? Constance Giles in Walker County, Georgia, folks, called the police for an incident that she had nothing. She was not in the wrong, not guilty of any actions, and she ended up being the one going to jail. So even sometimes when you call the police, it doesn't work out in your favor. And so you got to be careful what you say. So I didn't talk to the police like that, except I kept saying one thing. I was defending myself. That's all I needed to say. I was defending myself. And I guess because I didn't want to talk to the police officer, he decided to put me in handcuffs, toss me in the back of a police car, take me down to the courthouse or to the county jail. And you don't know what it feels like until you have those cuffs, which are often placed far too tight on your wrists, and you get put into a car. You can't even get into the car without help, and you can't even get out of the car without help. And so we drove, and he kept trying to this is how they trap you. They want to get you to talk. And that's why I've continuously, every week, I talk about rights. If I don't talk about it on Friday, I've at least listed it 1,000,000 times in the various subjects that I've covered throughout the week. That your Miranda is everything. Don't forget it. Everything that you say can and shall be used against you in a court of law. You better be careful. And that's what they do. They try to get you to talk. So you can say something that will be used against you. I just didn't say anything to him. So I wasn't cooperating. And at least, I guess, cooperating in this gentleman's mind. But I wasn't spitting on him or fighting or anything like that. I'm just not talking back to him. So we get downtown, and it's nothing like them waiting for the gates to be open, and they drive in, and you turn around and you look and you see that concrete gate closing. And he sat there for a minute, still trying to talk to me, nothing said. He gets out, helps me get out. And they take you in, and you got to sit for a while before somebody comes and pats you down. I mean, like, disgusting, just embarrassing, because they feeling everywhere. I'm thinking, like, nobody should be feeling on people like this. So once they do all of that, you can ask what your charges are. I've been charged with a felony, aggravated assault. Mercy. Even though in the statements, it would list that there were no visible marks, no weapon found, nothing like that. Just one statement versus another person. And because the police don't show up to be peacekeepers, because in order to keep the scheme going, we got to have people continuously filing into our prisons. That's the only way we can keep the scheme going, is to continuously have people that are filing into our jails and our judicial system. Yeah. So find out what my charges are. And I know that aggravated assault is a felony. I'm perplexed. So we go in the inside, and they put me in a cell, and I'm there with at least 5 or 6 other girls. And, I'm already just frustrated. I'm shocked. I'm embarrassed. Because I know it's late. I'm going to have to make a phone call to my parents. And I know because my dad works in law enforcement, I know making that call, when he sees the number come across the screen, he's going to be, what in the world? So I call and I explain what happened, and told my dad I had the money, just don't have my card, of course. Well, they put up the money, and as soon as they bail me out, I'll go get the money and pay him back. So you got to wait. I probably waited about 2 hours before I would see the magistrate. And so it ain't nothing for you to do except sit, and maybe if the people are nice to you, talk to them. So the majority of the women in there were in there for domestic issues. And so we're talking and everything, and they state that the magistrate is ready to start seeing people. And so I walk over to the magistrate after he calls my name, and he goes over the charges with me, asks me if I was employed, asks me all these questions. And then he gets to setting my bail amount. Now, first time I've ever been in trouble. First time I've ever been arrested. Like, never had happened before. And my bail was set at $10,500. And the bondsman that my parents went through even stated that was extremely excessive. $10,500, and I said $10,500. What? I said, if you read the police statement, there was no evidence of even what he charged me for. He wrote in the statement, this is the ridiculousness of it all, is that the police officer wrote the charge that they charged me for. He even wrote in the statement that there was no evidence of what the other person said against me. $10,500. My bail. Never been in trouble. Never been arrested. And he doesn't budge. He don't have to. So that's what my bail is. And so because anytime an incident is considered domestic, you're automatically on a 12-hour hold. Interesting enough, according to the law, everyone is innocent until found guilty. Anyways, I guess it's a cool off period, whatever they say, whatever excuse they have. But unfortunately, because of the date, the amount of people who are filing through the jail, because that's what our police officers do. They don't come to bring the peace with them often. Often they have to have somebody they got to take back, because that's the only way to keep the scheme going. They go and ask us to come out of the cell, about 6 women, and they put us all in handcuffs. And you can only imagine, I'm thinking like, yo, I've already called my folks. They're going to bond me out. I know they're going to buy me out because I got the money. Where the heck are they taking me? So they cart us through this hallway. And the next thing you know, we're outside. And I'm thinking like, are they finna kidnap us? Nobody tells you anything, what they're doing. They just open this van. Like, you guys just don't understand. This process is scary. It's ridiculous. This is how Freddie Gray ended up dying, being placed into a van with no seatbelts. So they have us get into a van that has no seatbelts, no securing fasteners or anything like that. And then they have a division where it's still some more seats up front. So they put like 4 guys in the front who are harassing us because we're women. And then a police officer and a comrade get in, and they are flying down the road. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm asking the girls, like, where are we going? Where are we headed? You know, are they getting ready to sell us to somebody and steal our organs? Or you can only think the worst. Are we going to end up being, we disappear from the system? They say that they never arrested me or something. You can only assume the worst, right? Because nobody is letting you know what is happening. And so the next thing I know, I look up and we're at Core Civic, which, if you don't know what that is CCA, or what was formerly CCA Silverdale. And they take us out, and they bring us in, and they put us in the holding cell, which had to be every bit of 40 degrees. I'm not kidding. Of course, jail is not supposed to be comfortable, right? It's jail, it's prison. But it was so cold because everything was made out of concrete. It only had like this one little concrete bench that can only maybe fit 4 people on it, or 2 people, considering what time it was. It was late. We were tired. And only about 2 or 3 people could actually like kind of lay down on it. And a concrete floor and like 2 vents that are just blowing this cold air into this room that is all concrete. Like, I don't think people really understand what it's like to sit on a concrete floor, to sit or lay on a concrete bench for 10 hours, feels like, in a room that feels like it is a freezer. We were there. Nobody offered us food or water or asked us if we needed medication or if we take medication. And part of that is a problem because you never know if people who are coming in off of the street, if they're diabetic. You don't know if they need psychiatric meds. You don't know if they take high blood pressure medication, different things like that. This should be questions that should be asked the moment somebody shows up. But I should have known where I was going in the first place. That's neither here nor there. So we sit in this room. Nobody asks us any questions like that. An hour, all you could do is just sit and watch the time roll by. And the only time anybody would knock on the little window that you could look out of would be if we were getting too loud. Or if the people in there if we were talking too loud and getting on the guards' nerves. And so the next thing you know, they open up the door. We're probably at this point, maybe 5 hours in or 6 hours in. And this lady tells us to come out. So we come out one at a time and we form a line. And she tells us to go into this room and we got to change clothes. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not staying here. I've at this point, by the time I had gotten out and I had talked to my parents, I had already bailed out. Good morning, Constance. I had already bailed out. What is so slow about our system of government? Anytime we need something to get accomplished, it takes forever. But whenever they want something from us, it's got to happen right now. I had already been bonded out, but I would not be able to leave until the 12 hours was up. And actually, I still didn't leave after the 12 hours. I ended up staying in probably about 14 before they processed my bail. But I had to dress out, and that is just a dehumanizing experience because, of course, I've never been to jail. I'm not a jailbird. I don't live to go to jail. So the guard is asking me to change, and I'm of course I ask, "Are you going to stand there and watch me?" And she said, "Yeah, you're in prison." I want you to stop and think about that, good people, because again, those in jail are innocent until proven guilty. Why would we be taking them to Silverdale? Is that an indication that we're locking up too many people? The majority of people who go to jail are often going to jail over misdemeanors in the first place. The last statistic that I look at, even though it's a little old, stated that 67% of the people who are locked up have not been found guilty. Not only does America lead all nations in the amount of adults as well as the amount of children that we lock up, because don't forget, our judicial system, our penal system, our criminal justice system is not even just for adults. We send children to jail. Oh, man. We're going to have to keep talking about it for the second half of the segment. We're going to keep talking about it, folks, because we are locking so many people up. We don't have room for them. We don't have room for them at the county. So then we got to sneak them in the middle of the night. We got to sneak them out to Core Civic. And I guarantee you that's happening quite regularly. But these folks are innocent until proven guilty. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A special thanks to our brave first responders working through some terrible conditions. This includes Tennessee linemen ready for action as Florence slams the coast. Close to 200 elect linemen from across the state of Tennessee are on their way to the coast. The various municipalities involved include Athens, Murfreesboro, and Tullahoma. Airbnb offering short-term vacation rentals for free to evacuees through its open homes program. The offer will end October 1st. If you're visiting from an affected area, just check your app. And a judge this week denied a death row inmate's efforts to block his October 11th execution by reviving a federal lawsuit. The move brings added urgency to a separate lethal injection challenge pending with the Tennessee Supreme Court, reports the Tennessean. Edmund Zagorski set to be executed. He's convicted of shooting and slitting the throats of his victims in Robertson County. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Get 8.1% on your money, guaranteed in writing. That's right. Get 8.1% return on your money at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. American Gold Eagle Bullion will return you 8.1% on your money. That's right. Get 8.1% return on your money at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. American Gold Eagle Bullion will return you 8.1% on your money at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
Let's face it, Old Faithful isn't as faithful as it used to be. Constant repairs are a hassle and can rack up quick in money and time. Landers McClarty Ford can fix that. Right now, you can get a 2016 Ford Focus, 34,000 miles, only $11,491. A 2017 Chevy Spark with only 17,000 miles for less than $12,000. A 2015 Volkswagen Jetta with less than 21,000 miles for $11,991. Yeah, browse their entire inventory of new and new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs online at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. If you can't find your next perfect ride, they'll go find it for you. Big city selection, small town prices, friendly service, and top dollar for your trade. The savings are waiting and only a short drive away, so what are you waiting for? Get started with your personalized shopping today at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com.
Join Nuga Radio and the Gridiron Gang live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks at 10 North on the North Shore. We're talking all things high school football. There's a specialty brew or refresher weekly inspired by the game of the week. Sweet treats, extended hours all season long, and we're pet friendly. Portions of all proceeds support local schools and educational scholarships as well as after-school programs. It's football time in Tennessee. Join us every Thursday live from 7 to 9 at Starbucks, 10 North, your North Shore neighborhood living room.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet Way. Yeah, I just put that in.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nuga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings, 10 to 11, right here on Nuga Radio.
Expect mostly sunny, breezy, and hot weather out there through your afternoon. Highs near 90 tonight. Increasing clouds late, lows near 70. For Sunday, lots of clouds, not as warm with a few scattered showers. Highs of around 80. Back into the lower to middle 80s on Monday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm sourcing 12 sheep and deerologist Patrick Ford.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
One nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. But how does that go if we're not following the Constitution? How is that possible? Is it liberty and justice for all or only the few? Maybe those who have affluenza? Those who we believe that are beyond understanding what true social justice means? While we will lock up the majority of our society and even our children here. But again, for at least how I feel, that's the only way to keep the scheme going, because we're not really doing what we're supposed to be doing. Is this system that we have set up or allowed to be set up in our midst really fair in the eyes of the Constitution? Is it just in the eyes of the Constitution? Because there's a lot of people, I myself, I have so many opinions. I have opinions about a lot of things, but the reality is that is it based on what is right? Is it based on what is right? Or am I just living off of my emotions or my feelings? And I think a lot of people are doing that. How you feel, yeah, somebody may care about that. Very few people really do. But the reality is, to me, in the eyes of judicial fairness, from the Bill of Rights, the rest of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, is the system that we have allowed legitimately in about the last 120 years. I believe from what I continue to read in the Bill of Rights, what I continue to read in the Constitution, because I didn't get this in school. There's a reason why you don't get this stuff in school. There's a reason why if you ask your child to tell you just the first two amendments of the Bill of Rights, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. But I guarantee you they can give you song lyrics. Come on. Y'all not ready. They'll give you song lyrics but they don't know how to be free. And part of that is being free indeed. Free indeed. Talked about that. For me, free indeed is not some sort of compensation, which is nothing wrong with having money and being wealthy. Understand that. I never want anybody to get that perception from me. Work your backside off in this world. Set up something and do it for more than yourself. If you got children, do it for your children. You know, leave an inheritance for them, something for them to start life with. Because it's bigger than you. Your existence should be bigger than you. It's nothing wrong with having money. Nothing wrong with being wealthy. But it becomes a problem when you use your wealth to oppress people, if you use your wealth to do what's wrong in the eyes of the Constitution. Because many of the people who even wrote the Constitution died broke. And had spent all of their life trying to accomplish this work so the people would not be left without the means of living in a free society. And we love talking about patriotism. We love because we can wear shirts now that say that I'm a patriot. And we think the extent of being a patriot is having a flag on the outside of our house, or maybe having a bumper sticker on our truck. That means, and then if I go and I submit a ballot, that means that I'm a patriot. No, sir, no, ma'am. What makes you a patriot is if you understand the Constitution and you see what's going on in society and see how 90% of the things are not lining up with what the founding fathers really did for your benefit. How did Marie Mott end up having a $10,500 bail, which had I not been working for corporate America at the time, I would not be able to pay it. I would not be able to pay it when the 8th Amendment right says that I should not be locked up with excessive bail. It shouldn't be required or expensive fines, nor cruel and unusual punishment like being carted in the middle of the night, like I'm being sold off into slavery to CoreCivic, who would then hold me additionally because we have so many people going to jail. And then finally, when I leave, I would leave women, think about this. Women who are delicate, beautiful creatures who are laying on concrete floors and concrete benches, who the majority of them would stay there because they just didn't have the money for their bail. Not because they've been accused of guilt. Let's not even me talk about my feelings. Let me not even talk about my feelings. Because of course I felt some type of way about it. What does the Constitution say? Well, let's take a look. 6th Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which the district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and the cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him or her, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his or her favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his or her defense. What about the 5th Amendment? No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, which Mr. Mike Seal says, I believe all crimes are infamous, if we're just going to put it like that, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in militia, when in the actual service or time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Now, I bailed out. Thank God I had the means to get out of Core Civic because I wasn't found guilty of any crime. And it was so cold, and I had laid on the concrete for so long. Folks, it felt like it took about a week for just my bones to be able to adjust to being in warm weather or being in the warmth of my home. And this is something that the majority of people, 60-something% of our citizens who are in prison, have not been convicted of a crime. They have been denied of their 8th Amendment rights, their 6th Amendment rights, and their 5th Amendment rights. And in particular, we need to look at the 6th Amendment that says that the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. How is this possible? If it was speedy and public, we shouldn't be locking people up. The whole reason why this is unconstitutional, keeping innocent people in prison, and in particular because they don't have the financial means to go home, is because we are denying them of their due process, which means that if, in particular, for crimes such as mine, where somebody has implicated that I have assaulted them, that I have injured them, that I had hurt them, and then because of the level of the crime that was, or the level of the charge given to me by the police officer would state that it is a felony, I need to get out of jail so I can, first of all, hire a lawyer, if I got the money to do that, understand who's accusing me, who are the witnesses, what is the evidence. That's due process. How do you have due process in jail? Ask yourself this question. I want you to simmer for a moment and think about that. How do you have due process in prison? How can people mount a case in their favor if they are locked up effectively for one reason and one reason only? Because they don't have the money to bail themselves out. And what does the Constitution say about that? To me, bail is excessive the moment that a person doesn't have the means to pay for it. And if we are assuming that all who are in prison are innocent, even the ones we don't like, because it's not about your opinion, it's not about your feelings. If they have not been brought before a jury or stood trial, they are innocent. So, as the opportunity would present itself, there's an organization that is mounting here called Caleb, which is starting a community bail fund, which I've been going to the meetings. And Mark Gilliland, who is one of the founders of Caleb, has been on David Tulish's show talking about the community bail fund. I know Concerned Citizens for Justice, the organization that I work with, has raised funds to bail people out who do not have the means to pay for their bail. I want us to ask ourselves, because David Tulis has been doing exceptional work with Title 55. With a federal judge that decided that people who couldn't pay their fines should not be restricted from having a driver's license. And in fact, we are keeping people poor if we don't allow them to have identification and to be able to move about freely, which is their constitutional right. And the only reason that we should be impeding somebody's movement of freedom in a constitutional republic is if they've been found guilty of a crime. Anything other than they should have the ability to move about freely. And And I'm very, very interested in the Community Bail Fund as a start to the process of deterring the amount of people that are going to jail. But the bigger thing that I want us to think about is that, do we need to reform our system, or do we just need to break it in half? So there's a parable that I heard. I can't even remember the movie. It says that it was like a master talking to one of his students. He stated that if you make a statement, I'll beat you. If you choose to do nothing, he had a stick. I'll beat you. If you say what's wrong, I'll beat you. So if you say what's right, I'll beat you. If you say what's wrong, I'll beat you. If you don't say anything at all, I'll beat you. How does the student get past the master who, no matter what he does, he gets beaten with the stick? And I thought about it. I said, break the stick in half. Did y'all catch that? It seems as if for people like me, good people, real patriots, when we do fight back against the system, we get beaten with a stick. For the people who are doing wrong, and even some of the people who are benefiting from the system, eventually they get beaten with the stick too. Don't think that they're going to get away. And that if you do nothing, you still get beaten with the stick. The only way to stop getting hit by the stick is to break it. Break it in half and throw the stick away. You tell the truth, I'll beat you. You tell a lie, I'll beat you. You do nothing, I'll beat you. Break the stick. Can we really reform? Can we really reform the system? As Scott Schrader said, can we go back to the same people who created the conditions and then expect them to fix the conditions, often of which they benefit from? To me, is that not stupidity, ignorance, expecting the same people who keep us impoverished or poor, who file us into jails and prisons, who crush our local economy, to fix the problems? And if they really will, are they interested in doing that? There's nothing wrong with the Community Bail Fund. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. We need to start there. That is an excellent start, is to at least start taking the money, start taking the money from the bail bondsmen and start putting some of these bail bondsmen out of business. Excellent start. That is an excellent first step. But until we legitimately, in a lot of ways, break the system at various different stages and various different levels, we're just going to see another means of oppression replace the other. How do I know this to be true? The 13th Amendment abolished slavery with the exception of those who were in prison. And somebody figured out that is a loophole that should be utilized and exhausted as a loophole, instead of understanding that I don't think that the founding fathers were, I don't think that they were trying to encourage us to lock up more people by stating that. They were abolishing slavery and stating that the only person who should maybe kind of live on those same means as somebody who's committed a capital and just heinous offense. And for you, the listener, I want us to think about this, because I love watching documentaries. Some of the documentaries that I love watching documentaries about the criminal justice system, from adult criminal justice to our adolescent criminal justice system, in particular, our jail population and our prisons. And one of the things that they have stated about us, especially locking up children, is that we are effectively creating criminals. And so let me just go back to one of my favorite quotes of all time. From Utopia. If I suffer my people to be miseducated and their manners to be corrupted from infancy, then I punish them for which their first education disposed of them. What is to be concluded of this, except that we first create criminals, but then we punish them? Thomas More from Utopia. Now, this book was written hundreds of years ago. But if I suffer to my people to be miseducated, can we look at our schools here, not only in the city of Chattanooga, but in the state of Tennessee? We have some of the lowest performing schools in the nation. Are we not suffering our people to be miseducated? If you don't even know your constitutional freedoms, are we suffering our people to be miseducated and then their manners to be corrupted from infancy? Absolutely. But who creates these conditions? Is it the people creating these conditions? Or is it the people who are responsible? We have people who are responsible for our schools. They're called the school board. They're called the Hamilton County Department of Education. Are they suffering our children to be miseducated and their manners to be corrupted from infancy? And then are they tied in with our penal system? Who are punishing them for their first education that they're exposed to? Could it be concluded that we first create criminals, that we create them in the first place, and then we profit, because it's all about money, that we profit from their ignorance? Excessive bail. The charges against me would be dropped. But I didn't get any of my money back. You certainly can't give me my time back. And from what I saw, what I experienced, there's a part of me that will never forget how it all unfolded. And I don't believe that it was an accident. I believe just as even great people like Martin Luther King, who will write letters from a Birmingham jail, that there are plenty of innocent people who end up in prison. And I think part of it is for us to see whether we're guilty or not, to see the conditions that we allow people who are often innocent, who have not been found guilty, to exist in. And partly because we don't want to be controversial. We live in an era and a time where patriotism is a buzzword, just like this year, the buzzword for political candidates is equity. We really don't even understand what that means or what it looks like. That we lock up a lot of people. And the sad part is that a lot of people who get locked up, their rights were infringed upon in order to lock them up in the first place. Their constitutional rights were infringed upon to lock them up in the first place. Is this America? Are we a democracy, which is a mob rule, or are we a constitutional republic? Are we ever going to stand up for what's right? Are we going to be controversial? Maybe have people not like us in order to get some things accomplished and make some changes around where we live? I'm not interested in doing anything but fighting the powers that be. Y'all know who it is. Marie with the Marie Mott Show. Y'all know my moniker. No one has taken the time today, this morning, to tell you that they love you. I love you. And guess what? It ain't nothing that you can do about that. Y'all have a beautiful Saturday. And tune in for We Got You Covered up next.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
2 fugitives were taken in by the Bradley County Sheriff's Office. Jimmy Dean Lowe and Michael Robinson, both arrested on Wednesday. Bradley County